And we welcome you back to Wayne State. We are at halftime, 35-14, the Warriors on top of Northwood. There's the Wayne State University Marching Band dressed up for Halloween on this Halloween Eve here in Midtown Detroit. Stay tuned. Tony Ortiz will interview Grant Lofdahl, the cross-country coach here at Wayne State. When we come back, again, halftime score, Wayne State 35, Northwood 14. You're watching CN 900.
We are all born to succeed.
Sometimes all we have is the strength inside.
The kind of strength that keeps you moving forward
When you'd rather turn back.
The strength to do the right thing when it's easier to do nothing at all.
to do good and then ask, how can I do better?
The strength to never settle for the way things are,
but to strive for the way things ought to be.
and know that to get where you want to go,
You might have to make your own path. At Wayne State University,
We take that strength
and make it stronger.
because being strong isn't strong enough. You need to be warrior strong.
Back at halftime, Wayne State leads Northwood 35-14. I'm Tony Ortiz, and I'm pleased to be joined here at halftime by the cross-country coach, men's and women's, Grant Lofdahl. Coach Lofdahl, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Tony.
Listen, kind of a chilly night for guys standing on the sidelines, for me, but this would be perfect weather for cross-country, isn't it?
Absolutely. Doesn't get any better than this. About 48, 50 degrees, not too windy, not raining anymore. Just great.
What is it about this type of weather that works for athletes, for the cross-country athletes?
Well, they say you generally feel about 20 degrees warmer while you're running all out than if you're standing around. So that means, 50-degree weather feels like 70-degree weather, which is ideal. So once you warm up, this is perfect.
I wish it felt like 70 degrees right now. Coach, listen, I put together notes for Wayne State games, and one of the things I've noticed is, as I look through the other athletic teams here, there's been a lot of success for your two teams this year. Why have your teams been so successful?
I think we've been building something over the past 5 years now, and we've really come a long way in that time. And we've got, for the first time since I've been here, a great group of seniors, upperclassmen, even some 5th and 6th years with the COVID eligibility, that the leadership and the experience that we've got right now has made a huge difference for our team.
Your team's finished pretty well at the GLIAC Championships, 3rd, which is the highest finish for the men and women in some times. What was the key to that? Why did the teams do so well at the GLIAC Championships?
I think that the leadership, again, and the experience came along to help us achieve the goals that we set at the beginning of the year. And both sides, we wanted to be top 2, if not top 3, at the conference championship, and that's where we ended up. We had some outstanding performances there.
You are the first coach that I've met here that coaches both men's and women's cross-country. Well, you coach men's and women's cross-country, but you also coach a men's and women's team. What are the differences as you coach two different teams like that?
Just team dynamics from season to season are always a little bit different, and so with our teams, it's just a little bit different depending on the year and the leadership that you've got and the younger underclassmen and new freshmen coming in. So each team is a little bit different for the men and the women, and I guess, this year's no exception. Our guys are pretty easygoing, laid back, have a lot of fun, and the ladies have a cumulative GPA of something like 3.82
Wow.
and are outstanding students, and they kind of balance each other out really well in terms of how they approach things.
It's nice that you have success on the field, but I got to imagine as a coach you also enjoy that success off the field with the grade point average you just mentioned as well.
Certainly. That's a goal that we set coming into this year for our women, was to be number 1 in the country in Division II in GPA. A couple years back we were tied for first, and this year we can be number 1 at the end of the season.
You've had some pretty good standout performances from some of your women athletes as well. Can you talk about a few of them for me?
Yeah, absolutely. Freshman Reagan Justice has been our leader early on in the season. Had just came in as a true freshman this year and did some great things, made a easy adjustment from the 5K up to the college 6K distance. And junior Charlene Yarima also has been our number 1 runner at times. She was our top runner at the GLIAC Championships, and she's coming off a long way over the past 2 years. Didn't make our national championships roster, top 7 2 years ago, and now she's our number 1 or 2 runner and is really doing a great job of leading the team.
Coach Lofdahl, this has been a pretty busy day for you. You're here watching a football game, but you are also out recruiting. What's the difference, say, in recruiting a cross-country track and field athlete as opposed to, say, maybe recruiting a football or basketball athlete?
I think for me in particular, I love to go watch people compete in person and get to know them a little bit and see in person how they compete, how they approach things, how they handle themselves on and off the course. So we don't spend a whole lot of time looking at film, but we do spend a lot of time out in person, watching meets. So that's what I've been doing all weekend, being high school MHSAA regional weekend right now.
As you talk to the athletes, as you get to meet the athletes that you're recruiting, what's the one thing you're looking for personally when you sit down and talk to them?
I think the single biggest thing that we look for with our program is putting the team first and having a mentality that my team is everything and I'm going to do anything that I can to support them. And people look at cross country sometimes as an individual sport as well as track and field. We don't. We look at it as a team sport 100%.
You know what? You beat me to the next question, which is it's not exactly an individual sport. People look at cross country, people look at track and field, and they say, okay, it's individual, but it's really not.
Right. For sure. Yesterday morning, if you would have been out here dark and early, probably about 7:30 a.m. when the sun was kind of coming up, you would have seen our team training, doing our last big workout before the regional championships, and really looked great running as a pack. Our women kept a pack of 7 together for almost the entire workout, taking turns with the lead and helping each other out, communicating the whole time.
Coach Lofdahl, give me a typical day for you. What is it like? You talked about being out here at 7:30 in the morning. What's a typical day like for you?
Typical day in the fall is probably roll in around 9:30 a.m. and do a lot of recruiting and a lot of practice planning and workout planning during the day. We practice in the afternoon and usually between 3 and 6, and we hit the weight room after that, and then spend a little time in the office getting ready for the next day and the next week.
I've got to ask, and it's kind of with everything going on with COVID-19, the pandemic and everything like that, how did that change the way you approach, the way you coach the last 18 months or so?
It's definitely been challenging over the past 18 months. Last fall, everything was canceled as far as competition. We had no GLIAC meet, no regional meet. So what we did was do a few team time trials. We broke our team up into the green team and the gold team and had them run at our home course at Willow Metro Park. And they had some great competition, actually ran some pretty solid times for being just an inter-squad meet. And just little things like that to keep them positive and keep them training and working, with the big goal being this year when we knew we were going to have a season. And now we're kind of seeing the fruits of all the work that they put in.
Coach Grant Lofdahl, thank you very much for the time. I really appreciate it. It's a pleasure to meet you, and continued success with everything that you're doing with the track and field teams. And again, as I put together the notes, I keep watching for your teams, I keep looking for your teams, and I'm so glad you're having success this year. Thank you for this time.
Thank you very much, Tony. I appreciate it.
We are here.